you ever found yourself saying yes when your whole body wants to say no? Have you ever found yourself doing for others when you are exhausted, you're tired, you are overwhelmed, and then you become slightly resentful and you feel underappreciated? If so, then you've fallen into this pattern of people pleasing, and it's not your fault. We all do it, and there is a reason behind it. So, what is people pleasing? People pleasing is when you prioritize your needs, your desires, your dreams, your comfort, your truth, all of that. When you prioritize that over your own truth and your own self. So, with all of that said, why do we even do this? So, it goes back to early human history when, you know, early history, when if you were ostracized from your clan, your tribe, your group, that meant certain death. Think about it. If you're not in a group and you're by yourself, standing alone, the odds are against you. So, our forefathers and our ancestors developed a biological drive to stay in the tribe by seeking approval, by people pleasing, by avoiding conflict, and by being part of the group, following the rules and regulations and the norms in order to ensure protection and safety. And that makes sense. So, and then comes indoctrination. With the biological drive that's like in your system, it comes indoctrination. So you must have remembered as a child, right? I do. When you were praised for being sweet and agreeable, for being seen and not heard, for not being too loud, for not being too excitable, for not being laughing too much, or too much, too little, all of that, and just being just so, morphing into a tribe. And gained so in order to avoid rejection, criticism, and to gain that approval and acceptance, we all kind of shrunk ourselves and also learned that our desires and dreams and our thoughts and who we are, the authentic self, it was not safe to be that. So this was actually a survival strategy. So your nervous system was really trying to keep you safe. So what became a survival strategy, what became something that was protecting you, has now started to limit you. So it's kind of like, it's a really sad thing that, you know that it's limiting you. But then again, I have a lot of people posing this question, of what is the difference between kindness and people pleasing? Generosity and kindness and people pleasing. So, general etiquette, you're holding the door open, you're listening to your friend, deep listening to your friend. You are not turning on the light in the middle of the night when your partner is sleeping. Just basic considerations, those are just kindness that comes from your heart. So what it sounds like is kindness will be like, I want to do this for you. I want to do this. I feel it in my heart. And people pleasing feels more like, I have to do this in order to be liked. Or if I don't do this, then they might disapprove of me or not accept me or not like me. So in order to like, I will do that. So even if you're really, really tired and somebody is a little bit giving you the cold shoulder, you're texting the person saying, hey, I'll make you a cake, or, I'll bring something for you, just that's people pleasing. So, all of that, like kindness feels kind of light, and people pleasing feels heavy. It. Your body, you've got to realize what your body is doing. Kindness feels more like, love, and people pleasing feels more like an obligation. So you feel obligated to do something. So you know, my loves, you can be kind, you can be compassionate, you can be wonderful without abandoning yourself. You do not have to abandon yourself, you know, in order to be liked or approved or accepted. So then let's talk about manifestation and how it is blocking your manifestation. And this is where it gets really interesting. Now let's talk about manifestation. So what is manifestation? Manifestation is when you turn your dreams, your desires, your thoughts into physical reality, right? And then what is people pleasing? People pleasing is when you prioritize somebody else's dreams, desires, thoughts, love, comfort over your own truth. So look at the juxtaposition between the two. Isn't this crazy? So, you know, it's polar opposites. So what you're doing is you're constantly communicating with the universe. When you're constantly communicating with the universe, what are you saying? It's not through your words, but more with your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions. So basically, when you're people pleasing, your signal to the universe is saying, everybody else's desires are stronger than mine. Everybody else matters more than me. Everybody's dreams are more important than mine. Manifestation is also a very energetic system. And I'm going to say this over and over again in every video. I'm going to say this: you manifest who you are, not what you want. And this was said by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I heard about this long time ago. I think around when I watched his movie, The Shift. So if you haven't watched it yet, I would recommend that you go and watch The Shift. It's on YouTube and it's free. What you're doing is you're constantly communicating with the universe through your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions. So when you're people pleasing, what you are signaling to the universe is that everyone else's dreams and desires matters more than mine. Everyone else's needs are more important than mine. My truth is less important than keeping the peace. My truth is less important than keeping the peace. So that's something that you have to, you know, think about, right? To avoid conflict, to keep the peace. But what are you doing? You're bringing the conflict into your heart. So when you stop honoring your desires, when you stop honoring your own guidance, that is another thing that will be blocked. Your guidance, your intuition. You know, so basically you might be saying, I want to, you know, you want to be manifesting abundance, love, great health, great success, great relationship, you know, all of that you are trying to manifest. But what you are truly saying is, I don't really know what my life purpose is. I don't trust my own needs. I don't believe in my dreams. I don't know who I am. I don't know my authentic self. So, and I need permission to choose me. I need permission to choose me. So when you have that, you know, the universe cannot give you things when you're constantly suppressing your desire. So, you know, you're giving your power away. You're giving your energy away. You're giving your healing away. You're giving your precious heart away. You're giving all that away out to an outside source. When your authentic self, like the more authentic you are, the clearer your manifestations are, the better your manifestations are, the bigger the manifestations are. So your authentic self has been eroded. And when you think about, when I talk about erosion, it's like a slow process. You won't even know until it's too late sometimes. So I hope you're watching this video before it's too late. So it's almost like when you, there's that story where the frog is being cooked from cold water. Slowly the water heats up, and then the frog doesn't know that it's actually being cooked. So it's basically like that. And it's also another analogy is like, erosion. So you're being eroded slowly, 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 and a strip of you remains, and everything, you're drowning in everything else but your own self. So once that authentic self is so very important to remember. The authentic self is one which is connected with source energy. The one which is people pleasing is connected with the ego, because it's saying you are not good enough. You have to seek approval somebody else. You cannot choose yourself. Right? So can you imagine that? So now I want to give you homework. So if you have a pen and paper, I ask you to write this down. So I've got 3 questions for you. And those 3 questions are: where am I saying yes when my whole soul wants to say no? Where am I seeking approval instead of owning my truth? Where am I seeking approval instead of owning my truth? Where am I abandoning myself and my life purpose for somebody else's comfort? So these are 3 questions, my loves. To love yourself, to prioritize yourself is not selfish. It is the most important thing. To create healthy boundaries is not selfish. In fact, it is the most loving thing that you can do for yourself and others. You must have heard this wonderful saying, and I love this saying. It's like the best way to take care of others or your relatives and your loved ones is first to take care of yourself. Wow, right? So I will leave you with this. Love yourself. Don't abandon yourself. Answer those 3 questions. And I will see you next week. It's going to be about self-love and how you can block your manifestation. Please consider, if you feel called, subscribing to my channel, sharing this with your friends and family or whoever needs it, commenting. So I read all your comments, and I will, as much as I can, try to respond to each of your comments. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you will have some information in the description below. But until then, be gentle with yourself, be kind with yourself, and please yourself, your authentic self. Namaste. Until next time.